Hey guys, how's it going? It's John from the Machine Shop. In this series of videos, I'm going to be upgrading the home automation stuff in my house. Massive fan of home automation. I've been with it from the X10 days. In my previous house, I had a full Z-Wave home automation system. I've got my Z-Wave controller installed here, but I've only got one module installed. The best home automation stuff I've got at the moment is an Alexa downstairs in my kitchen and the Hue lights you can see behind me. One of the things that I want to do is fit some sort of smart cameras to the house, being inside, outside, in all of the rooms, not just for surveillance, but for the actual automation side of it. So in this series of videos, we're going to be going through how I'm going to try and achieve that, and how each episode is going to be an upgrade of that system. So we're going to start off this video with a good old Raspberry Pi and a special Raspberry Pi camera module. I'll take you through the features of this in a minute. So in this one, we're going to spin this up, connect it to the camera, see if we can get some photos and videos out of this, and then we'll go from there. Okay, you ready? You sure? You ready? Let me give you 3, 2, 1, let's go! Okay, so first of all, the Pi side of things. The keen-eyed of you would have noticed that I picked up the Raspberry Pi 3 and not the Raspberry Pi 4. Now, the reason why I'm going to go for the cameras with the 3 over the 4 is the 3 has got enough processing power that I think, for now, to do what I want it to do. And also, I've got quite a few of these 3s, and they all use the micro USB cable for the power. I've got loads of those micro USB power things to go with the Pis that I've got. The Raspberry Pi 4 takes a USB-C on the connector, and I've only got one of those for the Raspberry Pi, the 3 amp 5 volt USB-C connectors. So if I want to deploy lots of these and I'm going with the Raspberry Pi 4 as my base, it means that A, I've got to buy a load more 4s, don't get me wrong, I'm well up for that, but I've also got to buy a load of power supplies, whereas I've got loads of Raspberry Pi 3s hanging about, loads of power supplies. So Raspberry Pi 3 is the model of choice for this project. Okay, so the other major element in this project is of course the actual camera. Now, I'm going with this camera. It's got a few extra features on it compared to the original Raspberry Pi camera. Camera's box. There. So, this is the original Raspberry Pi camera on the little board with its little connector on the back, and then this is the camera that I'm thinking of using. So the reason why I'm going with this one is, as you can probably tell, if you've used these cameras before, you probably know a lot of these features already, but we've got 2 infrared emitters, so that allows us to do night vision stuff. The sensor needs to have the IR filter removed so that it allows IR in. If you've ever used the non-IR version of the Raspberry Pi camera, during the day the video looks very pink, and that's because all of the IR from natural light is being picked up by the sensor because that filter isn't there. Night vision wise, it's great because you can then use the IR blasters on a camera like this and you can see in the dark, but during the day everything comes out really pink. This one's got a really interesting feature in that, can you see that you've got the camera, you've got the IR blasters, you've got the lens, but you've got this extra bit just here. See this? You see that? It's got that extra little black bit just there. Now what that is, it's called an IR cut filter. What that allows it to do is there's an extra light sensor on the bottom of this. What that does is the light sensor there detects whether or not it's day or night, and the IR cut actually switches in an IR filter during the day. So it filters out all the infrared during the day so you don't get that pink video, but at night it goes, oh, it's night time, click, and you can slightly hear it click. It goes click, and the filter retracts from the lens and allows the IR to come in, so it enables the night vision. So that's a really key feature, makes it look much better during the day. The other really cool feature about this camera is this lens. The lens on the original Raspberry Pi camera, tiny little lens there, that one, this one, it's the same sensor, but the lens on this one, can you see how much domed it is? So that's a super fisheye lens. So like right now I'm quite narrow with my, so I'm quite narrow. If I had a fisheye, you'd be able to see really far out. When I plug it in, I'll show you what I mean. So those are the 3 really cool features that I'm looking at for this camera. I'm going to have to make some sort of extra mount to go around this camera. I have originally 3D printed one somewhere. Oh, there it is. So I have originally printed a cover which goes over this, which I got from Thingiverse. However, I'm going to look at modifying this, so stay tuned for an episode where I'm going to be looking at doing that. I did find that although the camera fits in this case nicely, how it mounts, it was obviously designed to mount onto something. So I want to make it so that I can position the camera just right in where I want it, and for it to have the Raspberry Pi attached to the back of it as well, all in one piece. So another video coming up. Okay, so enough about the kit. Let's spin up a Raspberry Pi, get this camera connected, and see if we can get some photos and some video out of it. Okay, so I've got my Raspberry Pi and I've got the SD card loaded into it. I won't go through the whole loading the operating system onto the memory card on the Raspberry Pi. If you want to see a really quick video on that, go to my 60-second Raspberry Pi setup video. I will put a link in this one here, in this little card. I'm going to use an Ethernet cable to start with, whilst we're setting up the Wi-Fi. Plug my HDMI cable in, and then I'm going to plug in my power cable. Cool, we're just going to wait for that to boot into the main operating system. Okay, so now we're on the desktop. So I can now, let's just quickly zip through these settings without a mouse. Yeah, okay. So whilst we're just going through these settings, I'm also going to set up afterwards the SSH and the VNC remote desktop server, and then we can remote desktop to it rather than relying on the HDMI cable, because ideally when these are deployed around the house, I want to be able to network to them and operate on them as if they were right in front of me, whereas really they're going to be like stuck up in the corner of a room or outside or something. So obviously not going to have a HDMI screen so yeah, networking. Right, let's go through this. So stick a password in. Okay. Hide characters, that's a good idea. Nobody nosing at my password. This screen shows a black border around the desktop. Yes, indeed it does. Okay, that's scanning for Wi-Fi networks. I'm going to find my one, which is this one. Next, put in the password for your Wi-Fi. Again, hide the password so nobody knows what my password is. Update the software. So next. So that's going to go off and basically do a sudo apt-get update and a sudo apt-get upgrade, so that we know that all the software we've got on the Pi is all hunky-dory, ready to go. Cool, so once all your updates are done, you can then click on restart, and that should restart your Pi. Okay, whilst we're just waiting for the Pi to restart, I'm going to fit the cable to my camera module here. So I'm going to undo the little connector flap. I'm going to check to see which way on the pins go. So that means that on my little ribbon cable here, I've got pins versus a blue tab. I'm going to put the blue tab away from the pins, like that. Push on the little shoulder. So now the ribbon cable is in there. I've got the blue bit coming forwards, and that little shoulder has been pushed all the way down. Now what I am going to do is, now that the Pi's just booted up, is I'm actually going to ask it to shut down, because what I don't want to do is plug the camera in whilst the power is on. The reason why is if there's how much inrush current is on the camera module with these IR things on, if they come on as well. Again, these have got light sensors, so they may not come on because it is kind of bright in here, but if they do come on and there's inrush current, that can affect the power supply on the Pi. If it ducks, then you could reset it, and if it's trying to do memory stuff at the time, you might crash the SD card. Safe than sorry, shut down the Pi before you plug the camera module in. So I'm going to shut that down now. Cool, so on the Pi I'm just waiting for this green LED to flash 10 times and then go off. That's now gone off. I'm still going to disconnect the power even though it's in full shutdown mode, just in case again this thing decides that it wants to reset the Pi. Everything else should be fine. So I'm going to plug that into there like that. Again, checking to see if my pins are the right way around. So on this cable now, the blue tab is now facing towards the Ethernet port. Okay. And there's our camera module. What I'm going to do is grab a nice big blob of blue tack. I'm going to stick it to the back of the camera module. Good old blue tack. And then I'm going to stick that down so that it's nice and firm and it's looking roughly at me. That will help. Who doesn't want to see me, right? So I'm going to plug my thing back in. Okay, so the Pi is now up and running. So I'm going to go down to accessories and I'm going to go down to terminal. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go into the Raspberry config settings. So that's sudo Raspberry config. And then I'm going to go down to interfacing options. And I'm going to enable some of these interfaces. So do I want to enable the camera interface? Yes, I would. Camera interface is now enabled. Excellent. Interfacing options again. SSH. Would you like the SSH server to be enabled? Yes, I do. SSH server is enabled. Excellent. VNC. Would you like VNC to be enabled? Yes, I would. I'm just going to go all out on here and I'm going to go that I want the SPI module and I want I2C, yeah, and I want serial. Would you like to log in shell over serial? No. Would you like the serial port enabled? Yes. So that's UART rather than having basically the terminal which we're in now running over the serial connection. Cool. Do I want one? Do I want remote I/O? Not yet. No, I'm not bothered about that yet. Right, that should be pretty much everything. Cool. Finish that. Would you like to reboot now? Yes. Right, so we're in PuTTY, so I'm going to do 192.168.1.150. Check to see if we can connect to it. The server is not cached in the registry. You have no guarantee that the server is the one you think it is. Blah 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 blah. Yes, blah 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 blah. Yes, please. Right, log in as Pi and put the password in. Cracking. Okay, so we can SSH into the Pi, no problem. So we can SSH, which means we can still get into that sudo raspi config like we did earlier. But also what I want to do is be able to VNC into it. So let me go into my VNC program. That'll do. Okay, and I want to connect to 192.168.1.150. It says, oh, we've got no record that you've done this before. Do you want to do it? Yes, I do. No problem. Right, what do you want to log in as? I want to log in as Pi. I'm going to put my password in. There we go. Haha. Now, as you can see, I'm now on the Pi. So what I can do now is we can check to see if I can get into the terminal here, or of course I can use PuTTY is connected as well. So let me try and let's close that one and let's do it over PuTTY. So PuTTY is here and this is the VNC in the background. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move to the desktop so we can see it pop up. So change directory, desktop. Sudo raspberry still -o output image.jpg. Aha, so there we go. So we now have an image on our desktop and lo and behold, that's our camera view. Check that out. So that's me. Look at my lovely ginger beard. Excellent. Can you see how much of the view you can see on this? So you can see right from one side of my ceiling of my office to the other side. Imagine that was the flip side and it was actually up the top. You'd be able to see the whole floor space of this office. That's what I mean about that fisheye lens that I was talking about on this camera. Now we can see there that the image is actually upside down. So let's do that again, but this time I'm going to do sudo raspberry still -o image, yeah, that's fine. Let me close that in case it wants to overwrite. And I'm going to do -rot 180. There's a 5-second timeout, so that's just to allow it to take the photo. Okay, and we'll now have an image on the desktop. There we go, and we're the right way around. Now you can see we've got a little bit of distortion around here. That's just because of that fisheye lens. I'm happy with that. But yeah, we can see that that is working absolutely fine. Okay, let's try and get some video out of this camera then. So we know that an image works, but what about video? So let's do sudo raspberry vid dash output is going to be video.h264. We're then going to put in that rotation that we did earlier, rot 180, turn the camera on the other way, and then we're going to do a timeout of 5 seconds. So 5,000 milliseconds, 5 seconds. Okay, go. Oh yeah, there we go, it's done it. So, we have a video. Let's have a look, see if it's done it then. Ooh, there we go. Okay, that was really quick. And obviously it's over the network, so it didn't come out very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to load up FileZilla. Not in that one, I'm not. I'm going to do it in here. Let's open up FileZilla. And no, I don't want to install the latest version. Let's connect to that Raspberry Pi, 150, Pi, put the password in, port 22. There we go. And so now we're going to go to, it's on the desktop, video, okay, let's have a look in that folder. So that was under iCloud Drive, and then it will be Machine Shop, video. Did you see that? Right, this is set to times 5 for some reason. Let's put that down to 1. Go on, go down to 1. Why wouldn't you go down to 1? Why wouldn't you be nice to me and go down to 1? Do I have to have it playing? Right. Okay, so we can definitely see that that's there. There we go, times 1. Cool. That was a 5-second video. That came from the camera. That's pretty conclusive. Okay, cool. Cool, alright, so we've managed to get the Raspberry Pi and the camera module together, and we confirmed that we can take a photo and we can take a video. We've also managed to get it fully networked. We've got it on wired network and we've got it on Wi-Fi, and we can SSH and do remote desktop to the Pi, ideal for when it's set up and installed, and we can connect to it and we can do future upgrades on it. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can get the next videos of whenever I'm doing upgrades to this system. Maybe you want to incorporate it in your house as well. Stick a comment below if you want to see any features that I can try and fix up and incorporate into my system. Or maybe you've got some tips and tricks that you might want to share with me, or maybe even you're having a problem with something that we've looked at. Stick it in the comments below and I'll see if I can answer it and figure out what it was. Cool. Well, thank you for watching. My name's John from the Machine Shop. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Machine Shop UK. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!